Hi, and welcome back to Superior Self with KJ Landis. Today, we're going to learn how to make fresh butter.
So, for this, you're going to need 1 pint or 16 ounces of heavy whipping cream and try to get organic grade A. You're going to need a bowl. And since we're going to be making infused butter, you can choose whatever herbs you want. And I'm using rosemary and thyme. You're going to need a bowl and some type of mixer. So I'm using a handheld mixer, but you can use a machine mixer too. And you're going to be using the whisking attachment and the beating attachment. And you're also going to need salt. So let's get started. Also, you're going to need a bucket/jar of ice water. So to start off, we're going to take our 1 pint of heavy whipping cream and we're going to open that up on this side and we're going to pour it into our bowl. Okay, so we're gonna start off using our whisking attachment and we're gonna blend this until it becomes whipped cream. Getting thicker. 2 minutes, the cream has turned into whipped cream and I put that on medium speed and it got thick pretty fast. So now that it's whipped cream, if you want to make whipped cream, you could just take this out and eat it and put it on whatever you want. But since we're making butter, we're gonna need to keep whipping it. And once you see it starting to separate, that's when you switch to these beating utensils. Because if you use the whisking attachment when you're doing the beating, all the butter gets stuck in there and it's really hard to get out. So I'm gonna keep whisking this and once it gets separating and then when it keeps thicker, I'll continue. Actually, once you start keep thickening the butter and after it's become whipped cream, the whipped cream actually gets stuck in the whisk attachment. So I'm gonna get all this out and I'm gonna switch to the beating attachment. So at this point, we're going to add some salt. So I'm adding 1/4 teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt. And this just has a really nice flavor. So I'm just gonna add that all and I'm gonna go back to whipping it with my beating attachment. So as you can see, this is starting to turn into butter. So you can see that the curds are becoming in at the bottom right there. You can see that there's a little bit of protein, the milk protein, which is the whey, which is separate from the butter. And that's starting to form. So I'm just gonna keep blending until that happens and I'll show you guys what's happened. So now you can see that there's this liquid whey and this is the butter. So I'm just gonna use my wooden spatula and I'm gonna scoop it all to the middle and I'm going to blend it a little bit more and then I'll show you what's next. So now as you can see, I've pushed all the actual butter to the side, separated from the whey. And it's okay if there's like a little bit of butter chunks in there, but try to get all of it out. And we're gonna move over to the sink and we're gonna pour the whey into a cup and then you can use that for other cooking or you can drink it for a source of protein. And so we'll do that in a sec. So now I'm just pouring out the whey into this container. And you can, like I said before, you can use that for cooking or you can use that for other baking. So we're gonna take our ice water and we're gonna take our butter and we're gonna pour a little bit of the ice water into the butter. And this just washes out all the extra whey protein, because if we have that, the butter won't last as long. So we're just gonna do this multiple times until the water is clear, and you can just pour the water out into the sink. Also, the water does not go into the butter because oils and fats separate. So none of the cold water is going into the butter. It's just washing out all the extra milk. So now that the water is pretty much clear, I'm just gonna pour this out and then we're gonna start working on our herbs. So now I'm just squeezing out the water with my clean hands, and this just gets all the excess water out. And now you can feel that the texture is butter and that this is like your normal store-bought softened whipped butter. So now I'm just putting the butter onto some wax paper, and I'm just gonna roll this up. So let me move it over here. I'm just gonna roll this up, and this just helps get out all the extra water. And later on, if you want, you can shape it into the shape you want with the wax paper after we infuse it. So I'm just gonna wrap that up, and now I'm just gonna unfold it and just peel the wax paper off. And now I'm just gonna use this, and see, now it's all the water's out and it's just ready for putting the herbs on. So now I have my rosemary and my thyme, and I've just started to pick off the leaves because, well, if you want to have bigger chunks of these in your butter, you can, but I like to have mine kind of smaller. And if you want, you can blend it in with the butter when it's at the whipped cream phase, but that will make the butter green, and I kind of wanted to make mine white just with a few hints of green, so I decided not to blend it in. But so now I'm just picking off the leaves of the thyme, and you try not to get the stem in, but it's okay if you get like the tiny stems in, because it will all turn out well. Now I'm going to chop all of these herbs into small, tiny pieces. So I'm gonna mince them, and once they are small enough, we can add them to our butter. So I have this glass container, and it needs to be dry, so no wet containers. So I'm just gonna take the butter and put it into the container, and the butter should be pretty dry. And now I'm gonna take my minced herbs and just throw them in there. I'm gonna start off with a little, and then if I need to add more, I will. So you're just gonna mix this. You can do it with your hands. I'm just gonna kind of use both. So I'm just gonna mix this up, and after a while, after it's all mixed together, we can try it, and if it needs anything, if it needs more herbs or needs more salt, then you can just add that. So now I'm just gonna use my hands and my hands are clean. So make sure to always have clean hands when you're working in a kitchen, because you don't want your hands to be dirty, because then the food that you're touching is going to be dirty. So this is pretty mixed. I'm going to add a little bit more herbs, and I'm going to try it. So now I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of my tasting spoon and I'm gonna try it. That definitely needs some more salt, so I'm gonna add teaspoon increments. And once it's salty enough to your taste, then you can stop. And I think I might add a little bit more herbs, so I'll do that if I think it needs more herbs. So I'm gonna take this glass container with the top, and I'm gonna put the butter in here, and you're gonna store this in the fridge in an airtight container. So this is airtight. So we're just gonna put all the butter in, and if you want, you can get a smaller size container to fit the quantity of how much butter you make.
Thank you for joining us today on making homemade butter. This is a way to bridge generations. This is a way to make good fats that are good for your body. If you are lactose intolerant, a lot of times people who are lactose intolerant have a good tolerance for butter because we're separating the milk proteins from the fat. It's fun. It's an activity that's amazing. And whenever you eat good fats, grass-fed butter or raw butter made from unpasteurized cream, you're allowing the nutrients that you eat alongside the butter, like your vegetables, to be more bioavailable to the body. And that helps with brain power, memory, flexibility, endurance, and delicious looking skin. Have a great day. Please like and subscribe below. I hope to hear from you. Superior Yourself with KJLandis.com.